Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is February 7th, 2026.
We are deep into the new year already.
We are. And, usually when we start these deep dives, we like to zoom out. We look at the big sweeping trends, the philosophical shifts in tech. But today, I want to do something a little different.
Ooh.
I want to start with a very specific, almost visceral feeling that I think every single developer listening has felt in the last 6 months.
And what feeling is that?
The fear of the enter key.
Oh, I know that fear intimately.
Specifically, that moment when you're watching an AI agent, maybe it's in your terminal, maybe it's some autonomous tool you're testing, and it says, I'm going to execute the following command.
Right.
And you just stare at it, your finger hovering over the kill switch, just praying. It doesn't try to air RF your entire home directory because it got, confused about a relative path.
It's the toddler with a power drill problem.
Yes, that is exactly it.
Yep.
I mean, we have these massive brains. The LLMs are brilliant at reasoning, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can write poetry, solve complex math, but their motor control, their actual ability to do things in a computer environment, it's shaky at best.
It's more than shaky. It's hallucinatory. We've all seen agents invent shell flags that haven't existed since, 1999, or try to pipe commands together in ways that just literally don't work.
That's the execution gap.
That's it.
Well, that anxiety and that execution gap is the centerpiece of our deep dive today. We are looking at a release from just a few days ago, February 4th, 2026, from Vercel. They dropped a tool called Skills.sh.
And judging by my social feeds, the internet is already losing its mind over it.
They really are. I've seen some people calling it the NPM for AI agents, which, that is a massive claim to make.
It is.
So our mission today is to figure out if that's just hype or if this actually solves that execution bottleneck. We're going to look at the architecture of the contract system it uses and how it stacks up against things like Anthropic's MCP or LangChain.
It's a crowded space for sure, but I think Skills.sh is hitting a very specific nerve, and it's all about predictability.
Predictability. You mentioned in our pre-show notes that this is the sexiest word in software architecture right now.
I stand by that. In a world of probabilistic AI, deterministic execution is the new gold standard.
All right, well, convince me. Let's strip it down. If I go to the repo and clone skills.sh right now, what am I actually looking at? Is it a library? A framework?
It's best to think of it as a lightweight runtime, a shim, if you will, or a translation layer between the AI's brain and your operating system.
Okay.
Think about the status quo. Historically, when an agent wants to do something, say, list all the TypeScript files in this folder, the LLM has to generate the actual bash or zeesh command, has to physically write out the text, find-name.ts.
Right, which seems simple enough.
It is simple, until it isn't. Until the agent hallucinates a flag that doesn't exist on your version of Linux or messes up the syntax, it's guessing. Skills.sh flips this.
Yeah.
Instead of asking the agent to write the code to do the task, the agent simply calls a predefined skill.
So it's an abstraction layer.
It's a separation of concerns. You have the brain, the reasoning, the planning, and you have the hands, which is the execution. Skills.sh is the hands.
All right.
The agent just says, I want to read a file, and Skills.sh handles the messy reality of how you actually read a file on that specific machine.
But hold on. We've had abstraction layers forever. We have makefiles, we have scripts, aliases. Why is this different from me just giving my agent a folder of Python scripts and saying, hey, run these?
That is the million-dollar question. And the difference is this concept of the contract.
The contract. That sounds official.
It is. In Skills.sh, every single skill is defined by a strict machine-readable contract. It defines 3 things: the inputs, the outputs, and the behavior. It's not just, here's a script you can run.
Right.
It's, here is exactly what arguments I accept, and here is the exact type of data I promise to return.
I see. So it's treating shell commands almost like a strongly typed API.
Precisely. It's bringing structure to the unstructured world of the command line. When an agent looks at a skill, it doesn't see a black box. It sees a menu. It knows if I provide a file path string here, I will get a text string back there.
Which basically prevents the hallucination problem. The agent isn't improvising the syntax anymore. It's just filling in form fields.
Correct. It's fill in the blanks versus writing an essay from scratch. And it solves the other side of the coin, too, parsing the output.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever tried to get an LLM to read the raw output of a messy terminal command?
It's a nightmare. You get formatting codes, weird line breaks, progress bars that just clutter up the text.
Exactly. A skill takes that messy standard output, cleans it up, and hands it back to the agent in a structured format it can actually understand. So the agent isn't just guessing how to run the command, it's also not guessing how to read the result.
Okay, that is useful.
Yeah.
I want to push back on something. You called it predictable. If I'm an engineering manager and I hear we're letting AI agents run shell commands, I don't care how structured the inputs are. I'm terrified.
And you should be.
So how does this stop an agent from doing something destructive?
This is where that contract concept becomes an actual security feature. Because these skills are explicit and versioned, you are effectively whitelisting capabilities.
Whitelisting.
Yes. I mean, think about the least privilege principle. If you don't install the delete file skill, the agent physically cannot delete files. It doesn't have the hands to do it.
Interesting. So you're limiting the agent's inventory of actions.
Exactly. In the old model, the Wild West model,
Right.
you gave the agent a terminal and just hoped for the best. You were basically giving it root access and saying, please be nice.
Right.
With Skills.sh, you're the architect. You say, this agent is for code review. It has the read file skill and the post-Hammond skill. It does not have the deploy to production skill.
That makes it auditable.
That's the magic word. And that is why managers are going to love this. You can review the skills. You can version lock them. If write file v1.0 works, you just keep using it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry that the agent will suddenly decide to use a different write method today because the temperature setting on the model was a bit higher.
I can see the value there. It creates a safety perimeter. It's like a sandbox, but a useful one.
A sandbox with specific tools, yes.
This also feels like it addresses another huge pain point, which is the whole CI/CD pipeline.
Oh, huge.
Because that's another classic problem, isn't it? It works on my machine problem.
It's the developer struggle that has existed since the dawn of time. You build an agent locally, you tweak the prompts until it works perfectly on your MacBook Pro,
Yeah.
then you push it to a Linux container in the cloud to run as a GitHub action, and it fails immediately. The file paths are different, a dependency is missing, the shell environment is just slightly different.
And Skills.sh normalizes this.
It tries to, because the skill definition, that config file, it abstracts away the environment details. If the skill is installed, it works. The source material emphasizes this heavily consistency between local dev and automated pipelines.
So you're testing the exact same hands on your laptop that will be doing the work in the cloud.
Exactly, and that reduces so much friction. It means I don't have to debug my agent's environment, I just have to debug the agent's logic.
You remove a whole class of errors related to environment drift.
That's it.
Okay, so we have structure, we have safety, we have consistency. But Vercel releases cool tools all the time. Why did this specific one get tens of thousands of installs in like 48 hours? That feels like more than just better shell scripts.
It is, and this brings us to that comparison you mentioned at the top. Akash Harish, an AI engineer, dropped this quote that really went viral. He said, "This is NPM for AI agents."
NPM for AI. Unpack that for me.
Yeah.
Because NPM changed the world by letting us share JavaScript packages. How does that apply here?
It's about composability. Think about how you build a web app today. If you need a date picker, do you write the logic for calculating leap years and rendering a calendar grid from scratch?
Absolutely not. I NPM install a date picker that someone smarter than me already wrote.
Right. You are assembling, not writing. Harish's point is that until now, every developer building an agent was writing their own date picker, metaphorically speaking.
We're all solving the same solved problems.
Everyone was writing their own git commit logic. Everyone was writing their own AWS S3 upload logic. It's terribly inefficient and error-prone.
Right.
Skills.sh creates a standard packaging format for these actions. Now, I don't have to teach my agent how to use Git. I just import Vercel skill or whatever the package name is.
That's actually a profound shift. It means we stop building smart agents from scratch and start equipping them.
Yes. Equipping is the perfect word. You are snapping on modules. You want your agent to manage your calendar. Snap on the Google Calendar skill. You want it to deploy to Vercel. Snap on the Vercel skill.
This touches on what Thomas Reimer mentioned about discoverability.
Exactly. He said, discoverable skills solve the what can you do problem. If I drop an agent into a new code base, how does it know what tools are even available?
It has no idea.
With Skills.sh, it just asks the runtime, list capabilities. And it gets back a structured JSON list of everything it can do. It creates a shared language.
So the agent doesn't have to guess its own strength.
And it creates a shared ecosystem. That's the NPM part. Because Vercel has positioned this as an open library, developers can publish their own skills.
So if you figure out a really robust way for an agent to interact with, say, a legacy banking mainframe,
You can publish that skill. And suddenly my agent gets smarter because you did the work. We are moving from a world of everyone writing hacky scripts in isolation to a shared ecosystem of best practices.
We're crowdsourcing the hands of the AI.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
But, and there's always a but in our deep dives, Vercel isn't the only giant trying to define this standard, right? We have to talk about the landscape.
It is a battlefield right now. Everyone wants to own the interface between the model and the world.
The source material lists a few heavy hitters.
Right.
We've got Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, or MCP. We've got OpenAI's function calling, then frameworks like LangChain and CrewAI. Is Skills.sh just one more standard to confuse us?
It definitely feels like that sometimes, that old XKCD comic. But I think it's important to distinguish where these tools sit in the stack because they aren't all trying to do the exact same thing.
Okay, break it down for me. Start with Anthropic's MCP.
So MCP is very ambitious. It's focused on structured API-based access. It's designed to be very deterministic, very enterprise grade. It's often about reading context from a data source in a really strict way.
Okay, and OpenAI.
OpenAI's function calling is more of a primitive layer. It's the raw mechanism that lets the model say, I want to call function X. It's less a library and more a core capability of the model itself.
So where does Skills.sh fit in this mix? It feels different.
It's closer to the metal. It's shell native.
Closer to the metal.
I mean, think about LangChain or CrewAI. They're fantastic frameworks, but they're often Python abstractions over the underlying system. You're running Python code that wraps the action.
Right.
Skills.sh says, no, let's use the operating system's native language, the shell.
Why does that distinction matter, though? Python versus shell. Why should I care?
It matters because of overhead and flexibility. If you wrap everything in Python, you're constrained by that wrapper. You're adding a layer of dependency. If you drop down to the shell, you have the full power of the machine.
But with great power comes
Great responsibility, which is why the contract in Skills.sh is so vital. It gives you the power of the shell, but wraps it in that safety contract so the agent doesn't blow up your machine. It's finding a middle ground.
So is there a winner here? Akash Arish, the one who made the NPM comparison, he had an interesting take on this.
He did.
Yeah.
He argued it's not a winner-take-all scenario. He believes Skills.sh wins on discovery and local execution. It's the developer's best friend. It's quick, it's local, it's command line friendly. But MCP might win for enterprise data integration, where you need absolute legally binding guarantees about how data moves between systems. Or, connecting to a SaaS platform.
So I might use Skills.sh to let my agent debug my local code.
Yeah.
But I'd use MCP to let my agent talk to our Salesforce database.
That's a very likely future. It's going to be a stack. You'll use the right tool for the right layer. Vercel is just making a bet on the developer experience.
And that's historically a pretty safe bet.
A very safe bet. Vercel knows how to make developers happy.
I want to circle back to something you said about the shared ecosystem, because if this NPM for AI thing really takes off, it feels like it fundamentally changes what it means to program an agent.
It does. I think we are seeing the start of a shift from developer as writer to developer as assembler.
Developer as assembler. Explain that.
Well, right now, if you want an AI app, you spend so much time writing glue code. Here's how you connect to the API. Here's how you format the string.
Yeah.
You're writing plumbing. If Skills.sh succeeds, that glue code just disappears. It becomes a library import.
So building an agent becomes shopping.
Basically, you go to the skills catalog, you say, I need a coder agent. So you grab the file system skill, the Git skill, and the Node.js skill. You drop them in a bucket, give it a system prompt, and you're done.
That's incredibly powerful, but also, does it make you worry about dependency hell 2.0?
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine? Agent crashed because Git skill updated to version 4.2, and it now conflicts with file system version 3.0.
That is definitely coming. We're going to be debugging dependency trees for our AI agents.
It is unavoidable, but I'd argue that's a good problem to have.
How is that a good problem?
It means the ecosystem is mature enough to have dependencies. Right now, we're still in the Stone Age banging rocks together. I'll take dependency hell over. The agent erased my hard drive because it hallucinated a command any day.
Fair point. Reliability is the prerequisite for complexity.
Exactly. And Skills.sh is the first really convincing attempt I've seen to standardize those bricks at the OS level. It's creating a foundation we can actually build on.
So for the listeners out there, the learners who are maybe just dabbling with agents, Why should they care about this today?
Because the frustration you feel right now, the flakiness, the constant babysitting of your AI tools, that is a solved problem, or at least it's being solved. We are moving from experimental AI to infrastructure AI.
An infrastructure AI. I like that term. It sounds boring, but in a good way.
Boring is good. Boring means I can sleep at night while my agent deploys code.
Amen to that.
So if you are building tools or even just using them, look for this pattern. Look for tools that expose capabilities via contracts. Whether you use Skills.sh specifically or not, that architecture separating thinking from doing that is the architecture of the next 5 years.
And maybe, just maybe, we can finally retire the fear of the enter key.
One can dream.
I want to leave everyone with one last thought. We talked about composability. We talked about shopping for skills. If an agent's capabilities are just a list of installed packages, like the NPM era, are we approaching a future where the quality of your software isn't determined by your code, but by your curation?
Go on.
Well, think about it. If the code is generated by AI and the skills are imported from a public library, the human contribution becomes selection. The best engineer isn't the one who writes the best algorithm, but the one who knows which 5 skills to combine to get the job done most efficiently.
The librarian becomes the engineer.
The librarian becomes the engineer. I love that. It's a shift in value from creation to curation.
And that requires a totally different set of skills. It requires broad knowledge of the ecosystem, not just deep knowledge of syntax.
A massive shift. Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive into Skills.sh.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Keep exploring, keep building, and watch out for those shell commands.
See you next time.